Yeah. The more you learn, the more you earn. Education can be fun, shine bright like the sun. Be social, never run. Get active, chase your passion until it starts chasing you. Now that's magic, yeah.
Let's get our lens in the right view for High Q. I'm here. I'm Millie, your co-host as usual with Cash.
Tune in to this high quality information.
I'm Distant, Tone.
And we have our very special guest today, Ms. V.
Our very first guest, a longtime friend, a great person.
How y'all doing?
Great spirit. My friend Vidalia. Let's get into it.
So
Episode 2. How y'all feeling, y'all? Let's get the energy. Let's get this energy. Let's get this energy out. Let's get the energy out.
Let's get it
Episode
going.
2. Let's get it going. Man, it was a hectic week, man.
Very
Hectic week. Long week, man. A lot of stuff going on in the world. Not knowing what to expect each day. It's just crazy, man. I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot going on, you know. You got to take one day at a time.
One day at a time, man. That's the best thing you can do. Let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about health. Let's get into the health sector, man. The health sector seems like a lot of things going on, man.
There's definitely a lot going on health-wise. What I can say about health, I'll start. For me personally, I've been trying to eat the right things because there's a whole lot going on, man. It's a fence right now. There's a lot of people who are COVID advocates. There's a lot of people who are against it. But for each and every individual, you have to, have your own internal insight to know what's right from wrong. So whether you think COVID is good or not, you should be eating right. You know what I'm saying? You should be eating right. As my guys know, we all eat right. CMOS, we trying to get the right things in our body because that's what we can't control. We can't control too much of the outside forces, but we can control what's going on inside here.
Okay.
So,
No, that's definitely a good point, man. And for me, I just feel like my health journey started, actually, I'll say 2 years ago. I just wanted to do better. Like, if you want to live longer, you have to eat better. You have to. It's no questions, if or buts about that. You have to eat better. It's very important. What you put into your body, When you wake up in the morning, it's normally a good thing. For me, I like to drink tea. It cools me down and it just energizes me at the same time. I don't drink coffee. That's just not my thing. Not trying to bash anybody that do drink coffee, but that's just not my thing. I drink tea. I try to drink smoothies every morning, a green juice, beet juice. I actually got some beet juice on me right now. Sorry, guys. Some good beet juice right here. Very essential for the system. And if you want to live long, like I said, definitely tune into it. Stay healthy. Stay hydrated.
I approve. Well, for me, health is wealth, I'm a firm believer of you're your own universe, So to control your own universe, you got to start with the foods you eat. It's a lot of fruits and vegetables that look just like our body. You eat those vegetables, our body should work naturally and healthy. I'll give you an example. A kidney bean looks exactly like your lung. Why is that? The universe has been showing us this whole time, for example, you have to eat right. It's ideal to eat right. If you ask me, for example, I believe all of us should be vegan. But at the same time, for example, that's just my belief.
That's my fault to cut you. That's an interesting point. Why would you say we all need to be vegan? Why would you say that? Why do you feel we should all be vegan?
I'll say the first thing, for example, too, the periodic table. If you look at it, for example, broccolis, excuse me for saying broccoli, cabbage, for example, kidney beans, regular beans, Brussels sprouts, they all resemble certain parts of the body. So you eat that, that should nourish you, for example, I would love to bring up sea moss as well. Sea moss has 108
I think it's 92
vitamins and minerals or something like that. Something like that, yeah.
Sea moss has 92 vitamins and minerals in the body, for example, So that nourishes literally, I'll say 98% of our cells.
Sea moss is something I actually take every day.
That,
yeah, I take that every day.
To be honest, I feel like when you're in that vegan lifestyle, you feel a lot better. Like mentally, physically. When you're eating like all types of meats, like steak, any red meat, you're just feeling sluggish throughout the day or during the week. When you're eating vegetables and you're drinking a lot of water and you're doing the things that you're supposed to do for your body, you just feel a lot better, like mentally and you just feel better.
And so you are what you eat.
Nah, that's definitely a good point.
And while we still on the topic, man, I just want to talk about vital energy, because life is short. Life is short, and that's how we should view it. We should view every day and every second, and make it last a while. Okay. So with vital energy, I really want to stress that, because a lot of people just go through life aimlessly, using that vital energy on the wrong things, whether it's watching a TV show that, binge watching something that you've seen already, and when you could be reading a book that's gonna, put you ahead in life and put you in a different place. So I think that's a part of mental health too. I think that's very essential to mental health, because it's just using your energy the right way that's been given to you, and having the right willpower to understand and to discern through what can lead you in the right direction and what can lead you in the wrong direction.
The wrong direction.
And it's easy to constantly keep going in the wrong direction when you're already there, because you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know what's going on until you step back and say, okay, well, this is one way to go and this is the other way to go.
I think that's like an adaptation to addiction. Right. When you're used to doing like the things that's not benefiting you, or implementing anything that's going to change your life for the better. I feel like we just settle with things that we're comfortable with,
right,
more than doing something different tomorrow and having a big change. But we're just doing something that's going to make us like, okay, if we stick with something that we're comfortable with, then we're safe. We're too safe.
Right.
So yeah, it's adaptation to change that we need to do.
Exactly. That's a good point V brought up, because they actually say it takes 30 days to develop a habit, as well as it takes 30 days to break a habit. Yeah. So that's a great point right there. While we're on the health topic, one of the big things to bring up too is running. Running is very essential. I think actually running is probably the most, in my opinion, running is the healthiest thing you can do. If you stay consistent with your running, that actually helps. There's a science that shows running actually helps improves the mental. If you stay consistent, and that's just something I've been looking into lately, and it's been making me feel better ever since. Stay hydrated, like V said, drink a lot of water, very important. When I run, my body feels better, I feel better, and I have a lot more energy. So I don't know, am I the only one that you feel like you have more energy when you
definitely have more energy? The water in the water in your body is flowing, the blood is flowing, and being that we are made of a large percent of water, it makes sense that we have to keep moving, because the more stagnant we are, if we think of water, when it stops flowing, it stops flowing, the current is done. When somebody's in their deathbed and that lifeline stops, that current is done. You know what I'm saying? Are you thinking about anything? You're vegetable.
That's a good point.
Gotta keep moving. Can't be stagnant.
One thing I would love to add about, to this topic about health, especially mentally as well, it's all about the self-love. It's genuinely, ideally about the self-love. You got to make sure you truly love yourself, When you wake up in the morning, just make sure, even before you eat, before you drink water. Yes, I understand this may seem like it's going off topic, but it has everything to do with health. Make sure, for example, you're breathing properly. When you eat, and make sure you're eating slow. Make sure you're actually
digesting very essential to health.
They said, for example, the slower you eat, the more comfortable your body becomes with yourself.
Oh shit! See, that's crazy. See, I actually needed to hear that, because I eat fast. I eat fast. But I'm starving. That's a good point. That's actually a good point, man.
Conscious eating is very
conscious
important.
Eating. Yeah.
That's exactly the precise
conscious
word.
Eating.
Conscious eating.
Yeah. That's probably why I choke a lot too when I'm eating, man. I eat so fast, man. I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I eat like a savage, man. That's probably why it's good. So that's a great point.
If you ask me, you're still healthy.
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to stay on top of it.
So,
man. Let's talk. I want to. One thing I've noticed. I don't know if it's just me. When I'm driving around, let's use Brooklyn for example. I'm starting to notice a lot more. What's those stores that sell like the healthy juices and everything like that? Those juices, them health food stores, juice stores, and juice shops and stuff. I'm seeing like a tons more. Am I the only one? Like, is it just me? There's so much, and it's like I feel like we're at a point right now in this world where everybody's starting to be more conscious and woke to health.
Kudos to
seriously. Now, I can't speak more. Like, it's something that is beneficial to society. Walking, instead of just walking out, like back in the day, I walk outside, you see McDonald's on every corner, or a fast food chain, or a chicken spot, or something like that. But to come outside and see stuff like that is more motivational to me, at least, So I don't know, like how you feel about it?
Honestly, I feel like, for example, the universe, people all taking the proper steps, the proper steps in healthy living.
And if that's the zeitgeist and direction we going, that's a good thing.
Exactly.
the reason McDonald's and Burger King is successful in their big businesses is because of the consumers. Nothing else. You know what I'm saying? So if consumers is going in a different direction, being healthy, we should have big juice shacks the same way McDonald's would be big. So it's just pushing everybody in the direction to do the right thing, to eat the right way.
To eat the right way, exactly.
McDonald's wouldn't be around because you know what I'm saying nobody's eating it.
Yeah.
We're not saying we knock McDonald's.
McDonald's is great.
We're not saying we knock McDonald's
But
any
when you
minute.
place.
But when you say that certain things is being pushed in our direction, I feel like we're like looking in within ourselves, because at the end of the day, I feel like if we look inside ourselves and see what it is that we want, then we're going to take that step forward. But if you're saying that we're getting pushed in that direction, we're getting pushed in the direction to eat fast food on the streets.
Right.
We're getting pushed in the direction with all these liquor stores around. We're
On every
drinking
corner.
Matrices.
and
It's heavy.
doing-
Every corner, yeah, it's a
like,
big one.
I think it's more of just taking the time that we have to sit back, evaluate everything that we're doing or what's going around. Especially with this pandemic situation, I think this had slowed everything down for us to really take that time to really like dig deep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because nobody's not going to make the best choices but us when it comes down to lifestyle and, you know, all the right choices. So when it comes down to being pointed to the right direction, I think it's really digging deep, in my opinion.
Right.
Because everything is offered to us that's... Let's not even get into that.
No, that's
topic.
powerful.
Yeah.
You said that. That's powerful you said that, because when I think of the most successful, you know, magnet businessmen and people in the world, I think of their enthusiasm and how they was able to transfer that energy to the public. So if you're doing the right thing internally for yourself and you can get that message across to others, whether it's through actions or words, each one teach one. So,
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It's a good
you know,
point.
the snowball effect should put things in the right momentum for the masses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if everyone, let's say you got a group here, you got one person he's the black sheep because he don't like McDonald's or everything that everybody else eat. You know, and they see over time, you know, he's more healthier than the rest of us.
Okay.
Let's not lean on our own misunderstanding and try to see what bro doing.
Right.
So
Right.
I love
That's
to
a
add on
great
to what you
point.
said about the black sheep. That's such an underrated quote. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. They say the black sheep is usually the savior. It's usually the one that, you know. I look at the black sheep as, what's the word for example? I call it an extraordinary gene. Now, what I mean by that, for example, too, all it takes is one, you know, for example, and usually it's the one that's the weirdo, the one that's just a tad bit different, you know. If you actually hear him out instead of judging, you know, observe him or her, see what they're actually doing, you know, that can make the world a way, way better place.
right.
I feel like we have a little bit of black sheep in all of us, you know, and that strays us from being, you know, just like everybody else, but being in our own originality form. It's never bad to be a black sheep, so don't let nobody tell you anything.
Nobody tell you otherwise. Yeah.
Come on.
How do y'all feel about the world going green? Like, I don't know about y'all, but when I go to the store nowadays, I have to ask for a bag, or I have to ask for a plastic bag. Let me tell you a story. I went to the supermarket the other day with my family. We ordered probably, I'll say 200 to like about 250 worth of stuff. So we go to the cashier, she swipes our stuff through, and then she stands there and look at us. So we look back at her. So now we're having a staring battle. So in my mind, I'm like, you know, the F is going on here, you know? And then she's like, oh, you have to pay for a bag. Mind you, she didn't tell me you have to pay for a bag till after a swipe. So on one point, I'm definitely all for it, for the world going green. But on the next note, it's like, what are we supposed to do? Walk with our stuff in our hands?
No. They have these things. They got these. This is why everybody's giving out.
And
now.
yes, that's what I'm hearing. But she didn't even offer that.
She didn't even have
she didn't
one
even
of
know.
those?
She didn't even have one of those,
There was
man. So
nothing
we
that
had
was
to kind of.
offered for you to carry
Nothing was
yourself
offered,
out?
man. Nothing was offered. It was
Wow.
crazy, man.
Yeah, that's
But
terrible.
you know, on another note, I'm definitely all for it. Like the world going green, like I said, no plastic and stuff like that, because that was definitely a big thing, especially with like the plastics going in the water or something like that, killing the animals off. And if you know me, I love animals, so I'm all for it. So how you guys feel about that? The world going green.
Shout out to our first mother, nature. Yeah, like for example,
sir.
you know, I'll say another thing that's very random too, but it goes hand in hand to what we're talking about. Please do not kill any bees. They're the reason why we breathe, you know? They're the reason why we breathe, we breathe air, oxygen. If y'all haven't known that before, y'all educated now.
Root of survival.
Littering, for example, I've never been a fan of littering at all either. Now, I'm not gonna act like, I'm golden and I don't slip up and litter here and there, but I try to really minimize that, because when you look at global warming, that is real. 2012, I'm like, nah, nothing gonna happen, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Now it's looking like the last 5 minutes of the movie Ice Age. That water gonna, melt.
I got a comment about littering. It's funny because I used to deal with a I want to say female, but I don't even like using the word female right now, because if she heard it, she'd be like, yo, female dog.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here.
Don't worry about it.
She'd be like a woman. So I want to get into that. So I was dealing with a woman that mentioned to me, like, every time I litter, she's like, why are you littering? Why are you littering? Why are you littering? So eventually I stopped littering, right? But then once I started becoming more spiritual, it was a different meaning to littering. When I'm littering now, I feel like I'm damaging the macrocosm, right? So if I'm a macrocosm of the microcosm, I'm damaging myself. I throw some shit out the window, I'm damaging myself. I feel it a little bit, and if I don't feel it now, the karmic effect is gonna make me feel it later. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's I ate something that made me heartburn or something, you know what I'm saying? Just because I threw something out the window.
Yeah,
if only we had that, I'm sorry. If only we had that type of feeling that we do when you're feeling like you're littering, to implementing that in your lifestyle.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Thing.
Yeah.
You know how like straight of a line that we'll be in.
as they say, nothing could be nothing could be perfect, right?
Yeah.
Nothing could be perfect. But I love the point Millie just brought up. Like I've even noticed that myself within the last year or two. Like, but back in the day, I will admit I was one of those people. I'm from New York City, I used to litter like everyone else and have no type of feeling towards it. I'll just litter, I eat something, throw it on the floor, whatever. Nowadays, that is so hard for me to do.
Yeah.
Go somewhere miles away and I'll still be thinking about it like, damn, I really just littered. I could have just threw that in the garbage. It won't hurt me to walk a block to just throw it in the garbage, or walk around the corner to throw something in the garbage. It won't hurt. So let's just be more conscious, guys.
And mind you, if you're asking me, this may be very immature of me, but it shows true maturity. For example, like Cash is doing this, Millie's doing this, V's doing this, I'm doing this. We don't got no ring on saying that we part of, Captain Planet. We're not summoning Captain Planet when we're doing this. We doing this because we all love the earth we live in.
Right.
It's our own tithing, as we grow and as we develop and as you become the best version of yourself, you want to give back. You know what I'm saying? So if we're giving back to people and individuals, why not give back to what's inhabiting every individual that you want to help out?
Facts.
Exactly.
Because without the planet to live in, you know what I'm saying?
Whatever, exactly. That's all great points, all great points. My last topic while we're on the health sector, vaccines. Let me talk about vaccines. I think we have a situation in the world right now going on with vaccines where I feel like specific people are being targeted, and it makes me, I don't know how to look at it, because it's really corny. I mean, I don't think it's a good thing to target specific people when there's a bunch of people who has not been vaccinated. Whether you choose to be vaccinated or not, that's your decision, and you should not be judged for it. I'm totally against judging you for your opinion. Whether you want to be vaccinated or not, you have your reasons. That's what you do. You have some people, they have families who don't believe in vaccines. I'm not going to come and curse you out or call you less than because you don't believe in it. I'm going to still treat you equal.
One thing I want to chime in and say, for example, too, is it is truly unfortunate what happened to Kyrie Irving. I do hope that gets reversed, for all that it means. Kyrie Irving, vegetarian, vegan, productive man. He done planted over a list of trees, over a vast amount of trees, So he clearly cares about the environment. He cares about the NBA. I believe that was a very talented male, very talented black man.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but what is it that you meant, like, when you said reverse? What happened?
Oh, with Kyrie Irving? What ideally happened with him, for example, is he's currently playing for Brooklyn Nets right now, basketball. They said if he can't take the vaccine, he's gone. Currently, right now, Kyrie Irving is not in the NBA.
That is so unfortunate.
And if you ask me, that was a very, very, valuable male, very valuable person to society.
Just feel like the media has the spotlight on him for like no apparent reason, when there's so much going on to blind us from everything else that's going on in the world. And it's just like,
And the media will often use someone of a high platform to put out a societal perception that they want everyone to follow. visual that they're using.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because we know how much of an attribute.
I think there's this whole thing going on right now with Stephen A. You know, being a bit, I guess, misinterpreted for how he went off on Kyrie about not being vaccinated and expressing his feeling on how he feel. And you have other former NBA players coming out expressing their feelings on how Stephen A. expressed himself. Right. So it's just a lot, man. Guys, like I said, let's not be judgmental. Let's build up each other and not bring each other down. That is not something we want to do because at the end of the day, we're all here on this one earth. You know, so.
A quote I would like to chime in again and add, one hand washes the other.
Exactly.
Oh, I just want to basically shout out to all the families and everybody that's out there that faced having to take it or having not to take it and losing their jobs and stuff like that. Everybody definitely needs a God bless towards that direction and their families and the sacrifices that they had to make. Because this situation, I don't even know how to. I don't know. I mean,
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Like,
it's
a lot.
I do understand it's touchy.
A lot of people lost their jobs and stuff, and I just hope that they're okay. Especially, going behind what they believe in. So shout out to those people there. For real.
Yeah.
If you ask me, in life, it's ideally about playing chess, not checkers and stuff like that too. A couple people had the alternative route of unemployment. Now I'm not saying unemployment lasts forever. Another alternative route, for example, there's a lot of homeowners was allowed to literally pay back months of back pay rent due to certain programs that the government gave away. So it's definitely this COVID thing definitely is a double-edged sword. Like in the past, there's been other viruses, for example, swine flu. Right. So I would never say I feel like this thing is trending, but hey, this is the world we live in. For example, they say even chicken pox at a point in time, for example, was talked about once like COVID.
Nothing new under the sun, as they say. I would say.
Beautiful quote.
Yeah. Nothing new under the sun.
All right, guys, that was it for the health topic. On to the next topic. We're gonna get into some world events. Okay. Talk about some spicy stuff that's been going on this week.
Yeah, man.
I'd love to start off with the whole Dave Chappelle situation.
I can jump into that.
Right. I obviously didn't do as much of my research as I should have. So I'm gonna let Millie jump into it, and we'll chime in.
Yeah. So what I took away from that, man. I mean, we all saw the special. I'm not sure if you guys saw the special, but basically it was gauged around him having an opinion towards that. Who don't have the very best opinion. And we see that when people put out bad opinions, it gets a lot of lashback. So basically, the LGBT community was protesting against Dave Chappelle. They're trying to have his Netflix documentaries removed and all his shows pulled down and basically blackball him. And the way I feel about it is it's interesting to me because we're taught, to be able to laugh at ourselves and to be able to take a joke. Because it shows us a sign of strong character. This individual is able to, take one on the chin and still bounce back and jump back in society and like nothing happened. But I'm not really getting that with the LGBT community as a whole. I'm getting every time something happens that's combative or seems like a form of condemnation is just ready to just, weep about it and not really try and, all right, okay, now what? So what? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Sometimes that attitude makes you to come out as the bigger person. It comes out the bigger person on top. So I feel like every situation they end up just becoming too emotional and it just doesn't work out. And it just doesn't work out for them. But that's my take on it. Maybe it might work out for them. Maybe the message will get across because there's a lot of money back in. Everybody follow the money. So,
well, what I would like to add on to that, for example, and I feel like Dave Chappelle mastered this. It's not about what you say; it's about how you say it.
Right.
I feel like, for example, obviously he's under fire. He's going through hell, supposedly right now, according to social media. That man stayed in his frame the whole time. He genuinely spoke about how he felt. Now, I'm not saying I approve about everything he said, but the way he executed that, the way he spoke about it to me, was merely flawless. But once again, that is my opinion.
Like I was saying, I don't know much about the topic of what happened, but just hearing them speak about it, my take on it is, once again, it goes back to what I said. We're living in times where words have a big effect. Depending on the words you choose to say, sometimes there's repercussions to that. And sometimes those repercussions could be major, sometimes not. However, with the Dave Chappelle situation, he decided to express how he feels. While doing that, now they want to take off his his series off Netflix or his documentaries and stuff like that. Come on, man. Specials. Come on. Yeah. Come on. I also feel like we're living in times where we all know, everybody sitting here, we all know who Dave Chappelle is. We all know his name. The world, you guys know who he is. Mm-hmm. So it's like, where people are very, excuse me for saying this is just my personal opinion. I feel like people are very sensitive.
Sensory button is
very
very, very sensitive. It's at an all-time high.
I think,
like,
I'm sorry to
no, you didn't.
But I feel like the LGBT not necessarily feeling like they have the right to feel sensitive, but then I do feel like the LGBT always had that angle where there was not really that title was never really accepted by a lot of people, Violence towards LGBT, the hate words, the hate, it's always been people attacking LGBT because of their sexual preference, and that reflects on people that feel like that. That's towards their own selves. That's how. Not trying to stick up for them, but in the same sense, I kind of understand that they're just tired of feeling like being targeted. You know what I mean?
No, that's fair. I was gonna, because you said something that made me want to just chime in. How most people view it, you won't really know unless you can relate and you understand how they're feeling internally. Because like you said, people getting bullied and beat up, you could understand why someone would want to voice their opinion in a way.
Right.
So
and
that's a fair assumption.
They've been targets forever,
Right.
and
That's
they don't
true.
do anything.
That's fair.
They, mind their business and not speaking for all of y'all, but I'm just speaking for those that really just don't speeches and hate. Excuse me. They get I don't know. I don't want to stick up for them, but then in the same note, I just feel for them in the same.
So I get that, right? So here's what bothers me. Here's my thing, right? So we have social media today in today's age, right?
Yeah.
We have to understand that social media is a platform where it allows people to be themselves and express themselves.
Right.
Now, while expressing yourself, that sometimes comes with negative comments or sometimes positive. But I feel like, so more of the story, what I'm saying is social media is a big reason to why verbal abuse and things of that nature is so amplified.
Yeah, because you can voice your opinion, but it's like how you say it. At the same note, you don't have to be disrespectful to get your point across.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
So in the same sense, is that why do they feel obligated? Not even obligated, but why do they feel that comfortability of speaking in that disrespectful, negative way towards people just to get their point across?
Right.
I always say, live your truth, man. I have nothing against the LGBT community. Live your truth. Continue being yourself.
Right.
I have nothing.
One thing I would say to that is, we've heard how we viewed it from Dave Chappelle's side standpoint. We've heard V's take on it. To find a common ground, I want to say, yes, you have situations as an LGBTQ member, you've internalized certain things, and maybe you see something and it just triggers stuff that happened in your past, and as a whole, you guys want to react. But to be more accepted in society by everyone holistically, I think it has to come from you accepting the hurt that took place and healing from that trauma, because it seems like every instance where someone is attacking the collective, it just seems like a traumatic response comes and not really a sound, well, maybe you should have did things this way. It's more like, all right, he did this, let's get him out of here. Instead of really trying to rationalize the situation.
To me, that's not fair. To me, that's not fair at all. I feel like many influential people has taken the short end of the stick, because I would never say they wasn't educated, but once again, I repeat my words. It's not about what you say, it's about how you say it.
Right.
I think behind what you said, I think it's more like in order to feel accepted into this world, I feel like you can't necessarily keep I don't know how to really like say it into simpler terms, but don't make yourself the outcast, basically, is what you're trying to say. Like, if you want to be counted as an equal, you know, just allow things to take over and handle the situation, but don't necessarily like, I know what you're saying. You're saying. Yeah.
You see,
Yeah,
I see a whole different perspective. I feel like you shouldn't have to change anything about you. You should be yourself at all times. And it's either you're going to be accepted or not accepted. And if you're not, we have to understand and we have to normalize that not being accepted is not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
Not all of us was meant to connect. That's the world we live in. You know, just the number one thing you can do is be your authentic self.
Absolutely.
And when you're not being your authentic self, it shows. So when you're being fake, I'd rather somebody be their 100% selves. Unless, God forbid, I mean, if they're like an a-hole or whatever, I'd rather you be that than to be someone you're not. Because you being someone you're not, now that allows me to think, can I really trust this person? Is this person this way around other people? Is this person, you get the point? You start questioning different type of things. So, you know, we all have different perspectives on how we look at it, you know, but it doesn't make none of us wrong, you know, or right. You know, that's just the world. We all have different perspectives. We come from different angles, you know, so that's where I'm at with it.
See, if we're drawing more into that, I feel like that'll be the next part two.
Part two.
Because some people
We got a
can't.
couple more events.
We got a couple
to get into.
We can stay on this topic. We can stay on, we can stay on this topic
Very
all day.
touchy,
But
very touchy, by the way.
Listen,
we can stay on this topic all day,
that's
but
why
we
we
not
got
just
more
moving
episodes.
moving forward. Moving forward to the next point. With the
the eyeball
skins.
skins.
Man, that's something.
That was interesting. I think it was about 130,000 individuals who got the incentive of free crypto to get an eyeball skin. So I'm not really sure what this entails. But just taking the eyeball is scanning your retina. But I'm not sure what type of information they're gathering. I don't know if it's everything you've seen. I don't know.
That's
what's
just giving me
going on.
iRobot vibes.
But I don't think I need that. I don't think I need crypto that bad.
I love you, Will. That was a great movie.
Yeah. What's next?
You know, just real quick, because I don't really know what much to say about that, but that gives me a little weird vibe.
Yeah.
Scanning my retina, my eye, like that's for some crypto. I don't know what to say. I don't know how much to say about that. What do you?
I feel like they want like to invade certain things about us to reimburse us with something. Like, for an example, the vaccines, they're giving us payouts $100 in certain areas, maybe by you, maybe I'm not sure exactly where, but they're giving us money to get the vaccine, and now it's, what is it, the eye scan for crypto?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. What's next? Our DNA for
Hansel and Gretel.
Some Hansel and Gretel.
I'm gonna say one thing about that, for example. You know, like I'm not sure. It's like a seesaw with me. I'm not sure which side I'm fully on, for example, because I definitely do trust the government. I definitely do trust the higher ups and stuff like that. But at the same token, for example, it's like that's like, all right, I'm a traditional smoker and stuff like that. You know, I smoke a little weed here and there. That's like, for example.
Nothing wrong with that.
I appreciate that. That's like I go to the pharmacy to pick up some weed, and then I miss out on a week, and then they're calling me. They're blowing up my phone saying, I got $100 for you as long as you come over here and smoke this weed. I would just find that just a little bit skeptical, a little bit, suspect. But at the same token, for example, I'm not no detective. I'm not no, major health aid. All I can ever do is give you my opinion.
Last thing I would say before we move on is it's something interesting with the body. You actually, when you hear something that doesn't sound too, how do I say that? Too pleasant, sometimes the body tends to react first. So what I mean by that, let me debunk what I'm saying. Okay. If for example, what Millie just said, the moment I heard that, the eyeball scanning, my body just kind of got a shock.
Paranoia.
Right. It's almost sort of paranoia. So the more of the story is kind of listen to your instinct.
Gut feelings?
Listen to that gut feeling, that instinct. Listen, always follow that, because that's always going to lead you in the right direction. Okay. Whether if the other group decides to go that way and you feel funny about it, pay attention to that. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
definitely, I want to throw that out there.
You can always go with your gut feeling.
Yeah, always go with your gut
That's the
feeling.
big brain.
Always,
That's the
always
big
go with the
brain.
gut feeling. And
To me,
there's-
that stems from
to me,
self-love.
yeah, and there's definitely something funny about that. But anyways, on to the next topic. How do y'all feel about this boxing match coming up with Danny Garcia? I believe Mayweather's prodigy versus I don't know this other guy's name. What's his name? Let me look it up real quick.
Well, for Danny Garcia, he's a Brooklyn native, so
He's
kudos to that.
yeah. That's who I'm going for.
Kudos to
That's
that.
who I'm going for.
Yeah,
Let me look up this guy's name. Give me a second, y'all.
not a problem. Yeah, well, Danny
Time
Garcia.
being, I want to talk about what is it? Barbados just got a new female president.
Oh,
It's got a new
beautiful.
female
Yeah.
president,
Major
so
step of
they
the
won't
work.
be under British monarchy anymore. So bye bye Queen Elizabeth. It's cool. Yeah, so that's
Man.
interesting for the matriarchy of.
Shout out to Barbados. That's such a big step. That's a big step. First female
They
president.
did what
that's
the U.S.
huge.
couldn't do.
That's huge.
Wonderful
That is
Caribbean
huge.
island.
I believe. What's this next fight? What's this guy's name? Computer's kind of moving slow here. Could one of you guys look it up? Real
Sure,
quick?
not a problem.
Yeah, it's one of the
Danny
guys
Garcia
who's supposed to be
versus-
fighting. Yeah. Either way, I'm going for Danny Garcia, by the way.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's who I'm going for. While we're looking, there's so much to talk about when it comes to world events, guys. We have a situation in the world with there's a food shortage or something like that. It's a
yes,
huge
heard of
food
that.
shortage or something like that. What's that about?
Oh, I would love to tap into
So
that.
much. What's that about? What's that?
Well, as Cass said, for example, there's a food shortage
Mhm.
and stuff of that nature. The main reason I believe that it's a food shortage, for example, I feel like it ideally is a food shortage, but I feel like something that's happening in between, the process that nobody's really talking about is they're realizing that, for example, there is less money coming in. There is less, and opposed to the algorithm of the stores, they're realizing, for example, there's less customers coming in or what do the customers want. So
Mhm.
therefore, to not lose money, they're gonna have to lower their mass goods, lower their materials. So I feel like that is, one way of that shortage.
As long as there's still groceries in the grocery store, I'll be all right.
I'm glad we acted more civilized, Like in the beginning of Corona, we seen everybody true colors over toilet paper, toilet tissue.
Right.
I'm getting a capitalist. How do you say that word?
Which one?
Where with the people, the zombies and a zombie apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I'm getting
Zombie
those type of
apocalypse.
vibes.
Apocalypse vibes.
Apocalypse
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah, sorry for the miswording, but yeah, I'm getting those type of vibes where we're gonna just go to the supermarket, go crazy on buying canned foods and stuff, and I don't know. I'm just.
We
that.
saw snippets like Distant was saying. We saw the toilet tissue shortage.
Yes, that's
We saw the gas shortage where everyone was going crazy for
Crazy.
gas.
Yeah.
So you can imagine with when there's a shortage of food.
Okay.
But all those things, it just shows you, right? It just shows you that how important is the money, right? Because you're using this money as a medium of exchange for all these goods. But if there's no food, I'm saying you can't eat paper. I'm saying, so we got to value what's really important. Put the dollar down for a second and value what you're using it for and how important those things are if they weren't here. You know what I'm saying? You'll value those things more. So
To add on to that, for example, my whole purpose to me, for example, when I get a light bulb in my head, for example, what to do with $1, to me, all that money to me equals freedom, equals peace, Is what can you do for that money? What can you do with that time, The main reason why I try to acquire capital, any sorts, whether it be silver, whether it be crypto, whether it be, the lowest of them all, the paper dollar,
right.
Wasn't there a money shortage, like the coins?
It was a coin shortage.
Like all these
Yeah.
shortages is just making me feel uncomfortable. Like there's something
Yeah, I feel like this year alone has been like, I've heard of over like 10 different shortages or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's definitely times I would walk into a Dollar General or
it's
any other
crazy.
store and they wouldn't have no
They don't
coins.
have it. We always say that.
Yeah. So there's like a huge coin shortage or whatever, something like that. So yeah, that's a good point.
They do say history repeats itself, so hopefully we're not going back to the Great Depression.
Man.
Oh boy.
On another note, guys, I don't know. I tried to look up. I swore I came across something the other day with Danny Garcia in an upcoming fight. I could have been mistaken. I tried looking it up. I'm not seeing anything here, so
Okay.
I don't know. I could have been mistaken, man.
We'll definitely.
I probably just want
be
to see
on the
him fight
lookout
like
for
that.
it.
I definitely want to look. I just want to see him
We'll
fight. I don't
definitely
know.
be on the
'Cause I
lookout for
definitely
that.
don't see it. I swore I saw something the other day. Okay, and that was it for world events. We're gonna get into the next topic. This next topic is gonna be a big one. We're gonna talk about relationships. Woo.
You spending finance.
Okay.
All for
Okay.
it.
Hold on. Let's
Okay. Let's
jump
backtrack a little bit. Let's backtrack.
You know,
Because we're gonna
relationships
spend
could take
time
an
on
hour.
relationships. It's gonna take.
That could
So
take a real
so
long
we'll get
time.
into we'll do the finance. We'll do finance. Let's get into some finance. That's not a problem. I'll start with the crypto, of course. This week with the boom. Congratulations to everybody that took secured profits, and congratulations to everybody that's been hodling. Fight on, struggle on.
Hold on.
Hold on. You know, either one, we're hyperextended, which I don't think, or two, there's a lot of big money, big whales coming into this space. And with that being said, there's no doubt in the back of my mind we're touching 100K before at least the middle to the end of December. Potentially in January, going touching 200K. That's just my personal opinion. Ethereum, I see Ethereum potentially touching 15,000 January. These are some really pretty bold predictions, but
Shout out to
Y'all heard it
let's
here
see.
first?
Let's see. You heard it here. You heard
Y'all
it here first.
first?
You heard it here first. And
So
I
what it
think
sounds
Ethereum,
about, yeah.
and I think Ethereum is on for a big run, real soon.
Definitely.
So, congratulations once again to everybody that's been holding and secured profits.
Y'all are the future.
Yeah, it's been a big wait, especially when Ethereum had dropped and everybody had secure profits in it and wanted to take it out. Shout outs to those who waited for it to come back up. It was hard for everybody.
Yeah, crypto is one of those things where you got to play the patient game.
Yeah.
You got to play the patient. Commodities, so you really have to be vigilant getting in and getting out, or just playing a long game and just understanding the infrastructure, which is the blockchain technology. That's my take on that, because as I don't really get too much into the crypto, although I possess it, but my time and space is more heavily involved in the precious metal space. And this would be monetary episode 102, monetary segment 102.
Beautiful.
I do want to throw one last thing out there about crypto before you get into that too, Millie. In terms of the crypto, let's understand, guys, none of us, if any one of us here could time the market, we'll all be billionaires, trillionaires. No one can time the market. So your best bet is to be patient. You have to understand the patience. What comes with patience is reward. But we need to understand that.
I see.
Okay, what you were saying, Millie?
Okay. Let me jump into something for you guys real quick in relation to the U.S. Constitution. And one being an actual silver certificate. Basically, the difference is that one was just a paper, not backed by anything, and the other one was a claim check, redeemable in silver. So I want to give you guys some U.S. Constitution information or history, just so you could get a better understanding of what was in doctrine and what was put in line, so that things could be followed and ordained, but people chose to go against the grain. So for Section 10 of Article 1, it says, no state shall enter into a treaty, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. Right? So we're talking about gold and silver being the only form of tender in payment of debts. If you open up your wallet right now and get $1 out, it will say, this is a legal note, a legal tender used to pay off debts, public or private. That's not gold or silver, it's paper. So we have to try to understand where did they kind of, use the wordage to allow a dollar to be considered a coin?
Considered a coin.
Because if we go to Section 8 of Article 1, it says, provide Congress with the right to coin money, regulate the value thereof, and a foreign coin. So we're talking about having the right to coin money.
Mm-hmm.
Coin money, not print money.
Print
right?
money. Mm-hmm.
So the money that we're getting that's coming off the printing press, that's printed. Article 1 of Section 8 of the Constitution said they have the right to coin money, but not print it. So there's a lot of things that people don't know, right? So if you don't know what's going on, it's just like, all right, I'm going to take this for a grain of salt. I'm going to take this for what it is. It is what it is. But when you look back a little further and then you see, the constitutions and what laws was laid out and what laws was broken, because if I go a little further down, from what I was looking on this, it said that it was passed, right? It was passed as legal tender by the Supreme Court, and then that same year it got reversed. So they reversed it. They didn't like the idea, but then what they did is they got judges or the right amount of individuals sway in that one direction. They
very sly, very coy.
Yeah, they forced it. They kind of strong-armed.
And I feel like information like that is easy to overlook. Very easy.
You guys get more in the next episode, but just another thing, as far as silver, the industrial demand and monetary or investors demand, I would say, is the reason why it's so important. For me, I'm collecting it because I know the real value of it from a monetary standpoint and an industrial standpoint. Solar panels is something that's going to be everywhere. It's already going on every house, and it'll come to the point where the roofs will probably be made out of solar panels.
And if you ask me, that's essential. For example, like that shouldn't be taxable. I'll go as bold enough to say it myself. That should not be taxable. That is not electric.
In the solar panels. So if everyone's going to have a solar panel, that means you will have a roof with some silver in it, because silver is in the linings of the solar panels. If you ever drove in a Tesla, there's silver in there. If you ever had a phone in your hand, the semiconductor requires silver. So it's just in everything we use. So it's something you guys got to keep in mind out there.
And it's so ironic, the most essential, the most ideal way to actually use silver is just by holding it. The proper type of silver, which Billy can explain way better than I can.
Yeah, that bullion, man. That's where we want to go.
Bullion.
If we're talking about investing in the space, you definitely get your fair share of profits in the mining sector, but holding the tangible thing is it's where you want to go, because when it's all said and done and things come to turmoil, you might want to go to the bank and go to the deposit for your silver, and the bank might tell you can't get your silver today, sir. You can't. The bank is closed, and when the bank is closed, as we know.
That's a great point, Billy. And ladies and gentlemen, honestly, if you ask me, the dollar could count its days.
They say most currencies have a life. And
it's only a matter of time.
Pushing 50 years.
So only a matter of time.
So.
Only.
Very interesting information.
With fiat currency, I feel like some of us take it too serious. Let's remember, it's not real. It's not real money. It doesn't hold real value. And in fact, like I said, the more we print, the more value it loses. And if you look at 2021, was printed. So my question to you guys is, how valuable is a dollar? How valuable is a dollar? It's a question. Please answer it in the comments.
Any take on it? Any take, guys? No takes?
Any take, finance guys? Any takes?
No, sometimes it's something to ponder on.
Ponder, yeah. Something to think about.
I would like to give just a simple quote. This is a quote that family gave to me that I would love to give to y'all. It's like fingernails. You always gotta save money for a rainy day. So now, for example, when the rain touches the skin on a rainy day and stuff like that, your first instinct is to scratch your back. So that money should be your fingernails. Now, if you scratch your back, for example, and you don't have no fingernails, that means you have no money, you have no shelter, you have no protection. So.
Right. That's a good point. I believe now it's time to get into relationships. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
This is a big topic.
Let's do it.
This is a
I know
big
you guys
topic.
are waiting for this.
This is a big topic.
Drum roll.
We're gonna get into relationships.
Should we bust open the bottle for this?
Man, who gonna roll up, man? What's up? Let me stop.
High quality.
Sometimes these conversations deserve
It deserves it.
Right.
Definitely does. You know, guys, like I spoke about on last week's episode with relationships, to give you a little recap, the communicating part. A relationship can't succeed without communication. Let's understand that. Let's normalize black men, specifically black men. Let's normalize expressing our feelings without feeling belittled.
Man, it's so funny with that situation, because often when I'm doing something wrong to an individual, I feel it, and when they're doing something wrong to me, I mean, not feel it. Let me scratch it. Let me bring that back. Okay, so when I'm dealing with somebody, right, I can almost, I'm trying to internalize why they did what they did. You know what I'm saying? Because I know we're all human. So I'm trying to find, like, where was your why? You know what I'm saying? But with communication, I've learned most of the problems with miscommunication, it leads to us not understanding why that trouble came. But when we communicate with a partner, most times the trouble that comes from miscommunication is nipped in the bud, and it doesn't even, you don't even know it might have been a problem later on because we communicated about it.
Because we communicated about it. That's a great
You know what
point.
I'm
That's a
saying?
great point.
I think a lot of the tension that comes between people is a lack of communication in spaces where you probably don't want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I see with people who are living a lifestyle they want to live, that other people want to live, and they're like, yo, how they doing it like that? How they da-da-da? It's like, yo, bro, I was honest. I was I expressed how I felt.
The best thing you could do.
I expressed how I felt, and I wasn't settling for nothing else. You know what I'm saying? But at least I communicated that. So whoever stuck around, they heard me out. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. There was no gray area. It was black and white. So that's what you get with good communication.
Good communication. That's a great point.
You have with good communication, you have the right to say yes or no. But when you don't know what's going on, it's like, what can I say yes to or no to? I have to just play along. You know,
that's a great point Millie just brought up too. And while we're on the communication sector, to be honest, like I said, I feel like personally, if you feel a struggle to communicate with your partner, now that's a different topic, because you have to question. There's a few other things you have to start questioning. There should be no reason you feel a way expressing yourself to your partner. You should feel no way. And if you do, like I said, that's a real issue that needs to be dealt with.
Probably need a new partner.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
So from old situations, I feel like when you're miscommunicating with someone, especially with your partner, I feel it comes down to when both sides are saying certain things, and you're not necessarily listening to what they're saying, but more of, are you like actually caring about what the person is actually saying, or are you forming a thought while the person is explaining themselves just to respond to what they're saying? So when I say that is, are you actually taking the time to be a good listener? Are you actually taking the time to take in what they're fully saying? Or are you listening to that voice in your head rather than understanding the whole situation, but you're just like adamant about getting your point across? So,
Observe, don't judge.
Yeah, so you have to have a balance rather than just sitting back and thinking that your response is going to take over the situation the way you would want it. But it's not about winning. It's not about having the conversation go in your direction. Is about making sure that you and your partner is smiling at the end of it. So that's my opinion about it. It's not a race, especially when it comes down to saying your side about something. So
to me, when it comes to relationships, you gotta love yourself. If you don't love yourself, do not be in a relationship. You know, it starts with self love. That is the key. That is the core. You know, honestly, for example, you know, a very wise man told me in the past, for example, you know, it's not about what your mom did to you. It's not about what your pops or what your aunt, what about nobody did to you. It's about what you can do for yourself and your partner from here on out. You know, the whole point, for example, you know, the whole point in even getting raised, for example, is for you as a man or as a woman to go out and find, you know, another loving partner where y'all can start your own family with, you know. Now, I understand a lot of people that's within love and relationships come from dysfunctional families, but don't let it stop there, you know. A lot of people, a lot of celebs, you know, came from that same exact background. Look at them now, you know.
And they have a saying. They say if you come from a dysfunctional family, make sure you know the family you're bringing is not dysfunctional.
Indeed, I genuinely felt that.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So this is in response to what he said about Black men opening up, basically, and but my question is what about those fathers that always told their son, boy, don't be crying, suck it up, don't weak emotions, be a man, you know, all those things that's been embedded into these little boys' childhood and growing up because they thought that was a way of you know becoming a man. You know what I'm saying? They grew up with that, and shout outs to those people, you know, that their kids, you know, that been taught about that, and that's actually changing the pattern because they know that that's not healthy. But
breaking those generational curses.
What do you get from those that's been growing up like that and they want to provide more? When they had them and they wanted to give it to their mom or their dad or you know, but they can't because they felt like those emotions was wrong.
That's actually a great point, V, and that's why I said I feel like we need to normalize. We need to normalize as Black men expressing our feelings because I understand that our fathers, for example, that rooted from somewhere, that stemmed from somewhere. You know, that came like their fathers told them the same thing, and they told us that. So like Distant just said, you want to break that generational, you know, curse. You want to break that. I just feel like it's a huge situation because I feel like a lot of Black men, we carry a lot of anger in us. Most of us, we carry a lot of anger, and that anger sometimes, we know when it gets to a certain point, we don't know how to laugh.
The anger we carry often is not even our own fault. Sometimes it's the way society is shaped. It's not designed for the Black man. It's not designed for the Black man. So when the Black man becomes defenseless, he tries to defend himself. So why are you defending yourself? You know what I'm saying? Why are you so hostile? You know what I'm saying? Me defending myself, I'm hostile, so it just looks crazy. So with that you said, V, is really interesting because a lot of people walk around in the man box. The man box, like there's a certain way to do things as a man. There's a certain, man, you just gotta figure out who you are. But one thing I could say about, you know, why most fathers try to stop crying, stop doing that stuff, is because they know that it could get you in a lot of trouble. It could get you in a lot of trouble because that's why we have the dichotomy of men and women. You know what I'm saying? Order and chaos, because the man is supposed to lead and guide. A father arguing with his daughter, right? So if a father, man's 35 years old, he's arguing with his 8-year-old daughter because she wants a toy. And she's like, Daddy, what are you doing? I want the toy. And he's sitting there, sweetheart, you're not getting the toy. I'm not doing this. I'm telling you that people that the same concept has to be seen in the real world.
In the real
and
world.
If a man is too emotional, he's going to be combative. There's be two children arguing. So he has to be able to logically step back and say, all right, let me remove myself. Because the same attention.
For attention.
So, not saying that us knowing that you even have that. You know what I'm saying? You're able to see when it's real and when it's not.
Okay, I
But
have
if
a
you-
question for that.
Yeah, but if you're
So-
too hyper masculine, you don't even know when it's coming. But you're able to
Right.
really appreciate real affection if you've been able to have it yourself. So,
I feel like shouldn't there be a different approach on how to treat your son? You know, how to correctly do certain things without using masculine. How you say that word?
Masculinity.
Masculine. Yeah, that word. Without using that to be the main focus on how to solve like everything. You know what I mean? Maybe you can teach your son, like, in this situation we're going to use logic versus emotion. Certain things that we shouldn't necessarily put too much emotion in, but necessarily use our logical you know, mind, like our mind to make the best decision for us in that situation, or for you. Like, maybe practicing in that aspect rather than, oh, well, just puff up your chest and do it that your best, but in the same note, you got everything in you to really step forward and do your best and much more. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to feel that way, but then use that in a positive way to make them, like, anything that you go through in life, you're gonna remember in that part of your life that I taught you to brush off anything that you felt a little down from, but it's not gonna stop you from doing anything.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I approve.
I feel like too much of something is
I definitely agree because, we obviously live in a double standard world. So I've even noticed this because my girlfriend, she gets mad a lot when I used to do this. There's certain times we have conversations and I'll bring up a certain point like, oh, but men do this, or females do this. And she corrected me a lot of times, like, you shouldn't, it has nothing to do with the gender. In raising young boys, and
I think what it could be, with everything you said, I think it can just be a more tactical approach. Instead of it being like surfacey, like, oh, just stop being so emotional. It could be more or less like, well, curve your emotions when you need to curve them.
Yeah.
So when you're getting hot-headed and you feel that, you need to be able to calm yourself down, know that you are getting hot-headed and irrational, and know that no good thought can come out of this.
And to me, that's being a real man. That's being a real man.
But then
that's not a toxic man.
But on the other side of that, there's, okay, bro, you just had a death in the family. Your shorty's consoling you. I mean, you don't got to be tough right now. You know what I'm saying? You can show a little emotion.
A little emotion, right?
So
right.
Understand that balance.
Exactly.
It's
That's my
being
point.
tactical with it. It's knowing when to use your emotion, because it's not, most people just act on their emotions. Like, oh, I'm angry now.
Right.
It's like, bro, you have emotions
Not the
that
smartest.
you can control. You can choose when you want to be angry to maybe get a point across. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just being angry because somebody told you something and you just felt it internally. So it's just using our
Childless
emotions
love
the
I
right
love
way.
that point. I love that point you just brought up, because as long as we as men understand, especially as black men, as long as we understand that we have, it's okay for
Control
us
of
to,
our emotions.
it's
You have to
okay to
master
be in
your
control, to
emotions.
master it.
It's not that
okay.
you can't have it. We all have emotions.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be able to
And
master it.
you mentioned before that black men often feel when they speak upon their emotions that they feel belittled.
Belittled,
But
yeah,
it's
a
because
lot.
of it's because of their parents. The man
That plays a part.
Yeah, because they belittled their emotions, telling them that how they felt is not right.
But I want to say, not just parents, society.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Society shows us,
Yeah.
it dictates how a man is supposed to be, or how a
Yeah.
woman, we see on TV, a woman's supposed to do this, a man is supposed to do this. Where did you get that from?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who said that? That's the truth.
We need to take
so
back
we need
certain
to-
things and rewrite
It's
the
a real,
story.
yeah, exactly.
That's
Now,
what
we could talk. Like I said, this is a topic we could stay on all day, but we have to move forward. Our next point, this is a very interesting one, guys. Let me start. Anybody can answer this question. I do have a question though. It's just for anybody. So out there, for people that go into relationships with problems from previous relationships and It destroys marriages. It destroys relationships. And I think before you get into a relationship, you need to heal. You need to heal the inner mind, you need to have tapped into your sacred space to know yourself fully. You have, so I don't feel you should jump into a relationship if you're not fully healed and ready to take that step forward. Because you can't bring your problems onto someone else. It's just not fair.
Man, Rumi has a good saying. He's a philosopher. It's the saying goes, you can't dim your light by lighting the candle of another. You know what I'm saying? And it makes me think about what you said, because it's like I could be toxic and go make somebody else toxic. They make somebody else toxic, and that's literally just me.
It's like
I'm putting out mad lights. You know what I'm saying? Or I could hold my light. Pay that forward. You know what I'm saying? Lighting all these wicks. Leaving the right impression for the next individual. You know what I'm saying? So that whoever she's dealing with, you know what I'm saying, after me, there's certain things that he sees and values because she dealt with an individual who, you know what I'm saying, didn't take. Or
I wish everybody was thinking like that.
I would love to add on another quote. You know me, I love these quotes. This is from the Dharmapada, a book about the Buddha. Hate never dispels hate, only love dispels hate. That alone, should be self-explanatory, but I'll still elaborate a little more, stuff like that. If you truly want to be loved, you gotta love. So we don't even need to talk about hate right now.
And that requires a certain level of vulnerability. So that most people aren't ready to talk about. But
I want to add on one thing about that too. You spoke about vulnerability too. A lot of people, for example, still haven't healed from those childhood scars. That's why that toxic masculinity, they're thinking they're not being vulnerable, but more reality,
So that plays the same part to what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is people, they come into these relationships with those problems already, and then they try to bring it onto their partner. And it's, when you ask me, in situations like that, it's only a matter of time till that relationship goes sideways.
Indeed it is.
Like, how do you feel?
I feel like if your last relationship tells you the main things that's messing up the relationship, I feel like that's your guide to like understand what it is that you got to work on, things that you got to focus on. And if you're leading yourself into a new relationship, and if you're retelling that story by your actions or by letting them know what it is that was bothering you in the last relationship, you're not where you need to be at. You're basically repeating history all over again in your new relationship. So just focus what you're doing, do what you need to do, put in that work, and don't allow yourself to be pulled into something pulling yourself into, which is a good relationship, possibly, by ruining it because you don't want to do it. You don't want to do the work.
Right.
Do the work.
I feel like one thing about me, I'm gonna say, I like to talk about the things that people don't like to talk about. I specialize in bringing those things out. One big thing that as a society, most of us fret to talk about is we're afraid to be alone. A lot of us don't know how to be alone. You have to understand the importance of knowing how to be alone at certain times. There's certain situations, no Tommy, no Bobby, no Sarah, just you, yourself, and God. There's certain battles, it's just you and God. That's it. No one else. We have to understand that. You can't just jump from relationship to relationship. It's okay to be alone. It's called self-healing. It's called growing. We have to normalize being alone. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't settle to be with someone because you are afraid of being alone. Most people do it. I see it happen all the time. Are you truly happy in your relationship? There's a lot of people who's in marriages. They cheat in their marriages. They don't cheat because they're being men. It's not just being men or women. It's because you're not happy. So let's just, like I said, let's normalize that. Let's please.
And one thing I would love to add on to that too, for example, make sure you truly know who you're dealing with, for example, too. A lot of people, for example, be wolves in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
Like, for example, a lot of people, for example, you're looking for love. Somebody else may be looking for financial stability. Now, don't get me wrong, for example, I genuinely believe, the male supposed to provide and stuff like that. But up until a certain extent, though, for example, that woman has to deserve that, for example. Like, is that woman the mother of your child? Is that woman your wife, Now, I'm not saying don't give females a dollar and stuff like that, but make sure you're not getting played though,
Yeah, sexual pleasures go both ways, so it has to be more involved.
Don't fall for the bait, just because she's looking nice and stuff like that, just because she's very appealing,
There's only one thing I kind of
don't talk about women because guys are the same way.
Yeah, right. We'll get into that.
No, you're ideally right.
We'll get into that.
Right.
There's one thing I disagree. There's one thing I disagree with what you just said. You mentioned if she's the mother of your child. For me, you don't have to be a mother of my child for me to take care of you. It's about you being a genuine good person. And if the love is there, you don't have to have a child. I don't have to have a child with you for me to take care of you. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, I just want to throw that out there.
Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah, right. You don't have to.
But one thing I don't want to misinterpret either, for example, too. What I'm saying, for example, is to sum it all up. Let me just say it in one word. Don't trick out if you're not getting no treat. That's all I'm saying. I'm pretty sure everybody understood that one.
Yo, one thing is a shit test I do. Y'all girls got all y'all shit tests. Y'all girls got all the shit tests in the world.
Let's
talk about it.
My
little shit test I got for the girls, right? If I'm dealing with a female, I like asking her, like, yo, what did you learn from your last dude? Like, what did he teach you? You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't got an answer for me, you just monkey branching. You know what I'm saying? You swinging from...
I'm sorry, I don't know what monkey branching is. Can you elaborate for me?
Jumping from one to the next.
I can't even...
I
can't even get into it. That's for the LGBT.
Jumping from one to the next.
But
appreciate that, Kev.
Yeah, it's literally just, you just jumping from one to the next, to the next, to the next. You're not really garnishing no information. Like,
okay.
And most often, I know with certain females, especially the ones that, I talk to, or for just in general, people like the people that give them adversity. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Everybody likes the unattainable. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm going, hey, you tell me this is yes, and then I hear no, it's like, okay, where did this no come from?
That no shocking, that no
appealing, more triggering. So, man, I'm just throwing off. I think what was I trying to go with this?
It's like that basically. If you ask a female what they learned from the last relationship,
right?
But I have a question. What if the guy didn't have any substance to learn anything from?
Ooh, great question.
That's. I mean,
what if she was the teacher?
That's the whole. That's a point. That's a good point because then I would want her to elaborate on that, but then she would. From that, I know that you weren't really dealing with much of an intellect, and that you need to be looking elsewhere, maybe like in my direction. If I was talking to her, and she said that to me. That's what I would say. I'd be like, maybe you was dealing with some guys that didn't really know too much. They didn't really have no substance. They didn't really know too much going on.
Right.
You gotta tap into higher frequencies if you want to elevate and get further. Like
right.
Yeah.
With me, when I'm dealing with like women, I like to ask a lot of astute questions. That's just me. 9 times out of 10, the questions that I ask is premeditated. I just like to do that, and I like to, like testing. I like testing.
May you reveal one of them though? May you reveal one of those tests?
No, that's not a problem. That's not a problem.
Drop some sauce, Cash.
That's not a problem. So I like to ask about the female. I like to ask about them, about themselves. I test to see if people repeat. People tend to repeat themselves a lot. Mm-hmm. When explaining them about themselves, they tend to repeat themselves.
They do.
I pay attention to that.
Okay.
I watch the body language. Right. The body language is really big for me. Okay. And watching whether it's male or female, watch body language. I do that. And I pay attention to your words.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, paying attention to the words just really helps big time.
The eyes never lie.
The eyes never lie. The eyes don't lie. That is true. That is true. So,
what I would love to add to that, for example, too, they said the person who's most attracted to you in a room, or this is another jewel, by the way, guys. For example, we kings and queens, so here go with a little jewel that we can drop, to y'all. I'm gonna say one thing about in opposed to attraction, in opposed to anybody that you love, anybody that likes you, for example, I'm not trying to burst a lot of y'all bubbles too. Just look at everybody's feet. You look at everybody's feet, you tell about who care about who the most, who love who the least. Another. This is not a shit test.
I know. I didn't get that.
The direction where your feet is turned. If your feet is gauged towards somebody. So, for instance, if I'm
psychology, I don't know if almost like what the FBI does.
But my body and everything is. I'm here. My energy is in this direction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And no matter how cool you are, it can be the slightest thing, like one feet turning towards you. That means that's the attraction right there. Test it out, guys.
I don't know. Okay. I don't know about that.
I don't necessarily agree with certain things that you would like YouTube and find out, like what you said, something about the body language and things like that. Like for myself, my back, I had epidural and all of that, so I have bad posture. So you would look at me and probably think that like maybe I'm unmotivated or something because of how
Not being
straight.
upright.
That's why I
or something.
disagree with the feet.
Yeah,
Right.
so don't
Body language speak
misconcept.
volumes.
Don't misconcept the textbook psychology towards a person that you might misread. 'Cause
Misread, right?
My back hurt, and I gotta
Right.
maneuver myself this way, maneuver myself that way.
And you also have people that's
And
bow like
you
that.
think,
Yeah.
you think that my feet is
Yeah,
towards
somebody
someone
bow
right
like
now.
So I don't know if I agree. I
I'ma just
don't
say
know if
what
I
it is.
necessarily.
I get what
have-
he's. I understand what you guys are saying.
Yeah.
But on a deeper level,
Mhm.
on a subconscious level, people do it and they don't even know it.
Mm.
Like
And that's the real truth right there.
Someone will give
Mhm.
undivided attention
Mhm.
with their body,
Mhm.
and they don't even know it. And to the other person, it's like, yo, bro, you're giving me too much right now. I need a little bit of indifference. You know what I'm saying? Turn your back to me a little.
Like I would just love to explain.
Okay.
I would just love to explain one thing. My fault for cutting in, but I would just want to chime in and say one thing, for example, too. What V and Cass said is essentially correct. But the reason why me and Miles, according to the textbooks, according to the statistics, will be right, for example. You name one case, you name another case. Now, even if we used to break that down, for example, that's probably 30% of the whole chartboard, in opposed to our 70%. Like what we're talking about, for example, like y'all can say it's looked up off of YouTube and stuff like that. We're talking about the human anatomy. We're talking about the stuff that people do and they don't understand why they're doing it. This is probably, like I'll say, and y'all can look this up, probably over 300 years of research, psychology, certain ways.
Don't get me wrong. I agree with the human anatomy because there's certain things, there's certain body languages that we do that, yes, we're not even conscious that we're doing that. So yes, that's true. But
until you master
until
your
you
mind,
master
you
your
don't
mind,
even.
yeah, until you-
sometimes
yeah.
you do things with your arms. It's,
Yeah.
it's fidgeting, like right. But
And then when you understand where that comes from, where that
I don't
stems
need to
from.
fidget
Yeah.
as much because I'm in control.
But like V said, it's just there's some of them that I do disagree with. It's like some of them you can easily misread somebody just by
Right.
this person is doing this. If you pay attention, if you pretty much what she's saying is if you choose to pay too much close attention to that, you could easily misread someone.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, this
Yeah,
person is
ideally,
doing
right.
this. This person is doing
Using
this. No,
knowledge.
that person is doing that for a different reason.
Okay,
That's
but I'm saying,
what
for
I'm
example,
trying to say.
So
both of y'all correct, and I give y'all that to the fullest extent. But how many tests are we gonna go through? For example, all right, that's one, right?
Yeah.
Y'all just said one. What are the odds of your back being hurt and then somebody else, and then you being bow-legged at the same time? What are those odds? I'm pretty sure, for example, all right, the 2 points y'all made, y'all both correct about those points. I'll never take nothing out of it. But one thing I'll definitely say, for example, is keep testing that person, and I can assure you those tests will work. It's like math. No matter what type of math, 2 times 2 will always be 4. Somebody can be like, "Oh, I found the new formula for 4. 2 plus 2 equals 4."
One thing
That's
I can
y'all
say,
point in
not to
opposite
stay,
hours.
not to stay on this topic
I'm
too
in the
long.
middle of
It's
that.
the last point. Yeah, this is my last point. Like for example, I could use me for example. For me, with my 2 feet,
Yeah.
my 2 feet, I never keep my feet straight.
Okay.
My feet, I'm always like this. It's
Yeah.
always like that. So just judging off of what you said,
Right.
does that mean I'm giving one of you guys too much attention? No, I'm just naturally
Nah,
comfortable.
you're
Not
right.
like that. Not like that.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
put like this.
I'm speaking on, but it's
Like,
more or less like a.
It's so many categories and so many, for example. I'm saying, for example, all right, that's one. That can be one. Now, what about the other 9 that you may fall into all those 9? Like, for example, like,
when you
all right,
lie, you look to the left or to the right, something like
Something like that,
right?
yeah.
But what if
Yeah.
a person?
can't-
What if a
cross-eyed?
person just? No.
Y'all
No,
get what
some
I'm saying?
people
No, but
just.
what if a person just like sometimes when I think,
Mhm.
I look to the sky.
Some people
That's
just look to the
me.
yeah.
But there's just certain
Especially if
like.
I don't have a clear thought, I always look to the sky, not the person.
Mhm.
But can you necessarily like?
But there's
portray
certain tests.
something
There's
different?
certain things like
There's
You know
certain
what I'm
tests that
saying?
the clock test. Like
Yeah.
you look at somebody or somebody looking at you,
Mm.
you look at the clock, you look at the clock, and they looking at the clock. You know they was watching you.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's too many tests.
Certain
It's too many
things
tests
where
to find
you
out.
can almost kind of pinpoint, like, okay, I don't have to say anything, or I didn't have to really.
Mm.
It was the unseen said enough.
Mhm.
Can I ask you a
Mhm.
question? What if you was that person that knew everything, right? From everything that's on the list,
Mhm.
and a person just triggered everything that you know
Right.
mentally. What they just do everything down the list, right?
They looked at the clock. They moved
But
their
that's
legs
just
in the
them.
right way.
That's
They're
just
in love
them.
with you. I'm sorry.
And they're your soulmate. And they're your soulmate. You don't know that, but you're using your
Your
knowledge
thing, that knowledge, right?
to basically get the whole picture of the person when they're not that person, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
That could mess you up.
Yeah.
It could, but it can also show me that they're understanding. They have an understanding of their own body language and their manipulation.
But
Because they're
sometimes
using she might have looked at the clock because she knew I was, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So some people are on the other side of that, knowing that, okay, if I look at this clock, he'll know that I was looking at him. So then it's okay, I gotta do
As you
it.
can see, guys, as you can see, guys, this topic is so interesting. I love that. I love that topic.
really
I
does.
definitely love that topic. On relationships as we're on it. If you're with your partner, do you think it's okay to go through your partner's phone? How do you feel about that? Going through your
I would
partner's
love to start
phones.
that up.
Let's get it. Let's go.
I'll say ideally no, because if I have to look through your phone, I don't trust you at all. I don't trust you in general. If I have to look in your phone, I'm 3 steps back, and I like being 3 steps ahead.
I say no. It's not good to necessarily invade your partner's privacy, but I can say that if you come to terms to doing that, you gotta expect that you may find something that you don't like, and it might save you years of wasting your life on someone. So it's whatever direction you want to put yourself in. Do you want to necessarily go years and see what the outcome is like that, like the way it'll go naturally, or would you necessarily want to speed up the time and look through your partner's phone and possibly see something that's gonna save you a lot of time? That's my opinion.
My take on that, I think it falls on the sexes. Almost like it's different for the sexes, because if we're talking about females, I think it's okay. Not really okay, but I feel like with guys, you shouldn't be looking through your woman's phone. I feel like that's beta male energy, right? Like if you looking through your phone and you trying to stalking her phone, she's gonna feel like, why are you stalking me? Like, where's your pre-selection? You know what I'm saying? Women like guys that other women like. You know what I'm saying? So you on my body like this, bro. Who's flocking for you? So it's not even like, okay, I've been there before, you know. I've been there before. When
I'm sure we all have.
When we all young and emotional,
I'm sure we all have.
It's like,
I felt that one.
I had somebody tell me, yo, bro, you doing too much. You know what I'm saying? In a nice way. In a nice way. And I took that. At 16. I was like,
beauty.
I bet. I gotta move a little according. Because I see I'm displaying a little too much. So I feel like for guys, you know, just not saying not caring, because if you're doing the right thing and you the nucleus, your woman is gonna want to orbit around you, right? She's not gonna want to find another nucleus to orbit around. So you just stay on your purpose and do what you got to do, and I can trust you and assure you, your woman will be all over your phone, but you shouldn't really be on her phone. There's no place for you to be on her phone. Like that's nah. I don't even, that doesn't even sound real.
I want to stem back a little bit. V, you brought up something interesting. You said when you mentioned the part where there might be a possibility you seeing something in the phone that you don't like. Oh, yeah. So now that makes me think, is that your reason? Is that part of your reason for not looking through the phone?
What do you mean?
Is that part of your reason? Is that part of your reason? Like, so obviously I can see it. You're against, right? You're against going to a guy's phone. But what I'm saying is that part of the reason? Because you're afraid of what you might see.
I feel like it's built up maybe within the female, because we think a lot. You know, we always think a lot. So I feel like if it's something that's making us stare in that direction, maybe a little bit of doubts, maybe we just potentially might not see us with that person. We might just do that just to see if it will finish the job. You know, if we're leaning in towards not necessarily, maybe not seeing that person in our future, but if we want some concrete stability in our mental, I feel like that's what
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I think that's what we're doing.
I'm gonna have to agree with distance point. Like I feel like if you have to look through my phone, what's the point of the relationship? If you do it once, twice, cool. But if it's a consistent thing, now I feel. But then I learn when you dig deeper into it. That's when you learn whether it's the male or female. Whoever's doing the phone, looking into the phone, that stems from somewhere. So that's something you're hurt somewhere inside.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you're using that. It's like some sort of lack of trust. It could be a lack of trust. It could be you being hurt in your previous relationship. Yeah. It can be so much different things. You know, so that's why I'm saying, you know, there's certain habits that we come into relationships with that's so toxic that we don't even realize sometimes. You know, and I think that's one of them. That's why I brought it up. The phone thing.
And it's so funny, man, when you deal with a good individual. Yeah. However it went wrong, when you deal with somebody good, and then you deal with individuals who, you know, don't have those same good characteristics that you once saw in a person. Not saying that you should obviously look at exes and past and try to find them in the next person, but when you see
which a lot of people do.
A lot of people do that. But when you find the good qualities in someone, and you see the qualities that lack in another individual, it's not to condemn them and make them feel a type of way, but for yourself. and your own values that you put in yourself, it's like, man, I can't go to this. I can't revert. It'd be reverting because the qualities I was seeing in that prior person spoke to me. You know what I'm saying? What you putting out is not really speaking to me. So I think that's key.
It's key. That's a good point.
Being able to reflect. Because a lot of people don't even reflect.
No.
And take the good from the bad. And another reason why I like that question, what did you learn from your God? What did he teach you? Is because it's really showing me what's it show? It's really just showing me like man.
That's cool, bro. Take your time.
I'll
Take
come
your time.
back to
Take your
that,
time.
man. That'll get me in the whirlwind.
Come back now. Definitely come back to it. Trust me. Here, got some interesting topics for days. Next big thing. Let me see. How should I put this? You know, one thing that it makes me think, and it's like, it's so common that I think it's just the way it is for most people. Is, let's say if I'm with a girl, right? I'm with a girl for a whole year. All good times. Everything's sweet. We have pictures together, videos, everything's sweet.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything's smooth.
The moment something bad happens, for example, let's say you cheat.
Okay.
You choose to step out and cheat, right? Everything that was good that happened is thrown out the window.
I don't like
And that one bad thing overrides the whole good experience.
That don't sit well with
And
me.
potentially that one bad thing can end that relationship.
Of course.
And then on top of that, to get even deeper, most people, when they break up, they don't even want to talk to the ex. Right. So we at a point in human society where I feel like we're not mature enough yet to see an ex on the street and go show love, rather than seeing an ex on the street and just turn the other way. Like you never met that person. Like if you wasn't laying with that person day and night.
Right.
You brought me back to
What's
what I was
going on? What's going on? Like
Yeah, what is I doing?
what I was gonna
what's